welcome you to the 14th episode of the webinar series titled Why Corporate Sector. This webinar is the 74th BSL webinar for the year 2025 and 2026. This webinar series is organized by the Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee of the BASL. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Chairman of the Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee and the President of BASL, Mr. Rajiv Amarsurya, Attorney at Law, the Co-Chairman, Mr. Chatura A. Galhena, Secretary of BASL, and Mr. Pasindu Silva, Treasurer of BASL, and the conveners, co-conveners, and the member of the Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee of the BASL. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Executive Committee of the BASL for all the support and guidance. Welcome to today's episode of Why Corporate Sector. We are honored to have with Ms. Kumarini Astron, Attorney at Law. It's a pleasure to have her with us today to share her insights and experiences. Ms. Kumarini is an accomplished attorney at law with 20 years of legal experience and a wealth of expertise spanning law, human resources, and management. She holds a post-attorney diploma in finance, banking, and insurance laws, an MBA from the University of Colombo, and a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature, Sociology, and International Relations. She is also a chartered HR professional and a certified transformational coach. Currently, Ms. Kumarini serves as the General Manager of HR Administration and Legal at Astron Limited, one of the Sri Lanka's leading private sector pharmaceutical companies, where she leads initiatives in talent management, employee wellness, and employer branding, while also providing critical legal guidance in corporate, labor, and intellectual property law. Her remarkable contributions have been recognized internationally. She was named one of the top global HR influencers by the World HR Day Congress in 2025 and has been invited to share her insights on HR, AI, and workplace well-being at prestigious global forums, including the Asia Pacific HRM Congress. She also plays an active role in shaping HR and labor policies in Sri Lanka, representing the Sri Lanka Chamber of the Pharmaceutical Industry in discussions with members of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Kumarini, a true leader and inspiration in the fields of law and human resources. Without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Shehara Herath, who will be the interviewer for today's session. Over to you, Mr. Shehara.
Thank you so much, Rochelle, and a very good evening to all of you. And once again, I would like to welcome you for another session of the webinar, Why Corporate Sector, organized by the Webinars Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. And today we are happy to have Ms. Kumarini Astron with us, who is a well-known leader in the corporate fields of Sri Lanka. So once again, I would like to reiterate that this webinar series was initiated by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka in order to give guidance to young lawyers as well as law students on challenges, opportunities, and ways to navigate into the corporate sector, and also to show that the corporate sector is a vastly developing and a lucrative field of legal practicing in Sri Lanka. So my first question to our guest, Ms. Seniviratna, is could you please share your story as to why you joined the corporate sector? Of course, you joined the corporate sector many years ago, and you have, clearly excelled in your field, and now you have come to the position of general manager of a well-known pharmaceuticals company in Sri Lanka. What made you join the corporate sector? And would you like to share your story so that it will be an inspiration for young lawyers and law students?
Thank you, Shehara, and a very good evening to everybody. Firstly, I'd like to place my gratitude to Mr. Rajiv Amarsurya, President of the Bar Association, and the co-chairman of the Webinar and Legal Symposium Committee, that is Mr. Chatura Galhena and Mr. Pasindu Silva, for this valuable opportunity for allowing me to share my experiences. So getting back to the question, so how I got into the corporate sector. So basically, I started my career with Varners as an intern and thereafter as an associate. And at that point, I had the opportunity to test the waters in terms of what is litigation, what is conveyancing, what is corporate law, what is what it is relating to intellectual property, some kind of idea about trademarks, then company secretarial. So I had the opportunity to be exposed to lots of areas in law. So practicing court, I managed to enter into it as well by when I also had the opportunity to represent Varners in a few matters. So at that point, I realized that really appearing in court was not my strength. And I really thought that because of my capabilities in writing, that corporate law was a very good field for me. So that is why I pursued the path of corporate law. So thereafter, I got the opportunity to work as the assistant company secretary in Merchant Bank of Sri Lanka. And thereafter, I got into the field of HR with Astron Limited, where I have been there for good 15 years. So I realized my strengths were in corporate, intellectual property. So those are the areas that I'm really mastering in. And human resource has been an area which I've really been passionate, and wellness is my area that I really would like to focus on. So that's how I really got into the corporate sector. So that's my story in short.
Thank you, madam. And joining the corporate sector is a major decision one might do, one might take in their lives, because that'll, once you join the corporate sector and, make your career path on that, that'll shape your entire future. So would you like to also share what challenges someone who joins the corporate sector would face, or some challenges which you have faced yourself, when you first joined the corporate sector, and just to, make our young lawyers aware of these challenges?
That's an interesting question. So challenges for me was relating to when you are working in the corporate sector, we have to understand there are many stakeholders. So we are not really always expected to bring the pure law front. We have to understand everything from a business point of whether it makes business sense. So it takes some time for anybody who enters the corporate sector to understand how the company is making money, what really matters for the organization. However, as a corporate lawyer, we must safeguard the company and in the interests. So we have to communicate in a way that they will also understand. So we have to make clearly, we can't use legal jargons alone, but we have to make them understand what we're trying to do will help to protect the company as well. So that is something that corporate lawyers will initially struggle with because they can't really grasp that business language. So that's one thing. Another thing is that in the corporate sector, there is so much that you have to understand. There are financial statements, KPIs, those commercial words and jargons are important to understand. And you have to look at things from every point. Like, for example, whether there are budgets for things to practically happen, and we have to be mindful of timelines. So and also in the corporate sector, another challenge is that you have to work with speed, multitask, and also deliver. So that's a very big challenge. So you also need, while you are building your technical abilities, you have to manage your stakeholders and communicate in a sharp manner. So those, I would say, are the things that initially I was also really like learning as I was working. And human resource is something that I learned on the job as well. So I would say is that another factor is that when you're working in a corporate, sometimes the structures are not as formal as you work in the private sector, in private practice, because how you address people, you have to be mindful of the culture of the organization. So those are things you have to adapt to when you enter into the corporate sector. And it'll be really helpful if people also have a business management qualification, a postgraduate qualification, for you to grasp the concepts that I mentioned about the commercial jargons. So a better understanding of financial statements, all that will come into place when you do, I would say, a postgraduate. For example, my MBA from the Kalam University helped me to really understand where I stood against others in terms of knowledge. So I learned a lot, as well as I could also adjust my attitude to understand that, there are others, there are key players in a corporate, right? Not only the lawyer, you have supply chain professionals, you have R&D specialists. So you have to work with everyone. You have to work as a team to achieve your corporate goals. So there's a gamut of things that you have to really understand as you enter. So it'll make things easier for a corporate lawyer if they pursue some of the things. So you have to sometimes listen more than speaking, and you have to move slowly. You can't really, you have to be careful how you communicate and manage your stakeholders. So these are the challenges, and that's how you can navigate yourself uh, from without facing any adverse reactions.
Certainly. And I think along with challenges, we also have opportunities because the corporate sector is one of the most lucrative and also one of the fastest growing areas of law at the moment. If you look at corporate sector maybe a few decades ago and compare it with today's corporate sector, it's a huge difference and a huge improvement. And more and more opportunities are available in the corporate sector for young lawyers to join, and also for young lawyers to develop their career, to develop their skills, and also to uh, you know, to go on to climb up the corporate ladder. So I think along with this, the challenges which you mentioned earlier, we also have opportunities for lawyers in the corporate sector in comparison to regular court practice. What are the main opportunities you would like to highlight which are available for lawyers in the corporate sector?
Definitely, there's so many. So when you're working for a corporate, one of the best things is, of course, your pay is structured and is guaranteed. But so you have a standard pay, and also if the company does well, the organization will offer other benefits like bonuses, incentives. So those things I sometimes I don't really see in a private practice. So those are things you can really enjoy. And then some companies are very family centered. So for example, the company I work for, Astron Limited, offers benefits that will benefit your entire family. We have medical insurance schemes for the employee and the family. Then we have social benefits like Christmas parties, and also the picnics, which are for the employee and the family. And we have traditional employee engagement concepts like kiddies art competition for children. So there's so much that you and your family can enjoy if you join the corporate sector. So having said that, but you also see if you're in private practice, your earnings can be unlimited, but there is sometimes uncertainty on how you can earn in certain months, especially with when there is, I would say, court vacation and all that, right? So there are challenging times. So it's a give and take, but I would say that there's a lot of benefits that corporates offer to a corporate lawyer.
And just an extension on that, and I've always seen that a lot of young lawyers today, they are mostly looking at career progression. And what they want to do is to, quickly climb up the corporate ladder rather than, just stagnating in one place. And one might even think, maybe one wants to join a local company first and then work for a multinational company in the future. One might think that one wants to join join a local company first and then maybe migrate to another country. So I think that is also a very not an opportunity which is not very frequently spoken of.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing that you brought up, Shehara. So especially if your if your expertise is beyond legal and it goes to HR and other areas, you're opening your doors for migration. So especially having qualifications such as a postgraduate qualification in business management, human resource, those things can be really beneficial if you're looking at, moving to other countries. Having said that, of course, if you have your legal qualifications as a LLM, things like that will also really help you too. But countries do look at senior managers from Sri Lanka. They do have opportunities for to migrate. So that's an interesting point that you brought up, and definitely that your experience that you have in the corporate sector is counted for such migration opportunities.
Certainly. And now I'm sure in your position, you must have seen so many, not only lawyers, but, employees of all aspects joining in the company, getting promoted, or climbing up the corporate ladder, so on and so forth. So I would like to ask a very general question. Um, i- is there any advice you would like to give to a young lawyer who is listening live today, or someone who is watching this on YouTube, on making that decision on joining the corporate sector? Any advice on how to start? Any advice on what to face? Any advice on what they should expect in the corporate sector? What is your advice to them?
Shahar, can you hear me? Connection
Yes,
seems a bit unstable from my end. So you're asking
yes,
about
madam.
advice. Yes,
Yes.
advice of how you can progress in the organization. So when you're in an organization, yes, you are a corporate lawyer, and yet you have to remember you're an employee of the company. So your progression depends on how you are well blended with the culture and how you're contributing to the organization. And so it's all about your performance. So also you need to have, I would say, the right balance of things for you to progress. So it's all based on the employee. It's so you have to realize is, yes, you are a lawyer, but you have to be a good employee who can contribute, bring value to the organization. If that happens, your progression in an organization will go up, and progression will take place. So that is common for not only a lawyer, but to any employee. So, and I would say for a lawyer, it's very important that you have to be a role model, because you have to uphold the values that is expected from lawyers. especially your integrity, your honesty, and having an ethical approach. So you must never compromise on these values because other employees are watching you, right? Your timeliness in doing things, how you're reporting to work, how you're doing your work. So if they see that the lawyer is, not upholding these values, that will be a problem for your, I would say, image and also your career progression. So while doing your work, it's very important to uphold to the values of what is expected of lawyers as well as of the corporate structure. So those are some of the things I would say that you need to really focus on and to be careful about.
Certainly. And then one extension to that question I would like to add is now, in comparison to court practice, a corporate sector would require you to be a part of a team, and also to respect organizational culture. How do you see this? Would it be something which can easily be, adapted into by a lawyer who is joining the corporate sector, or not?
Adapting to the culture, is it?
Yes.
Right. So as I said, when you are just entering into a corporate sector, you have to move slowly, you have to watch and respond, right? So you have to listen and understand what it is like, how people are working, what are the values of the organization, and you have to slowly, there is a saying also, when you're in Rome, you have to be like the Romans, right? So you have to sometimes adapt to adapt to the culture of the organization by aligning to the values of the corporate. So it's not an easy thing. It takes a bit of time, but you can certainly do it. And uh, also, but never compromise on the values of integrity, honesty, those things. Those things really, go a long way because you are a role model and people are looking up to you. So it's really important that uh, these things are upheld by you.
Certainly. And my next question comes to talk about gender equality in the corporate sector. So, what we see is that when you look at Sri Lanka Law College or the Open University of Sri Lanka or the law faculty in Colombo or even private universities, the a majority of law students are female. There are young girls who study law, and that accounts to about 60 to 70% of the classrooms in law faculties. And when we look at the legal practice, what we see is that numbers do not reflect on the legal practice. What we see is that most courtrooms are filled with male lawyers rather than female lawyers. So I would also like to ask, is it the same in the corporate sector? Or do you see that that there are more women joining the corporate sector? That is my first question. And then secondly, would there be more challenges for a lady who joins the corporate sector in terms of career progression?
Yeah. So you see females joining the corporate sector. I realize some of my friends, they have joined the corporate sector and they're doing quite well. So, but it all depends on the individual, what they really want to do. For example, private practice also gives you that flexibility of really, uh, sometimes you don't have to work 8 hours at a stretch, So it's all depends on the individual. So if they really if they have that, I would say the support system as well, where they can work in a corporate sector at 8 hours at a stretch for continuously 5 days. There's so many avenues for people to enter. So when you're talking about female representation in terms of boards And at senior roles, yes, we see that it is lacking and is not up to the required percentages. There is no 50-50 representation of females as against males. That we see at parliament level and at many organizations, whether it is at government or even in private sector. So sometimes females, they are, there may be sometimes glass ceilings. However, there are also limitations from their end as well, where they can't really put in extra hours because of their children or because of their other commitments, or they have elderly members at their home for them to look after. So sometimes their progression is limited because of their own, I would say, their own issues, own personal commitments. So, but in most corporates, they're encouraging gender equality and participation at senior roles. And I work for an organization where the chairman and managing director is a female. So she encourages, and we have many female leaders who head divisions of the company, R&D, production, HR. They are headed by females, even the supply chain roles. So also, so we see that yes, there is a lot of possibilities for females to go into senior roles. However, their own personal commitments, those things also really push them back, not allow them to hold these roles. As well as there are sometimes you have to also improve your managerial skills, because when you're in a corporate, you're sometimes not only a technical expertise and a technical manager, you're managing a team. You have to look after their performance, their growth, their well-being. So there's so much that you have to be able to manage while managing your own performance. So if the organization sees that these things are not really in place, sometimes senior roles may not be open to females. So definitely females do have a lot of opportunities to go up in corporates, but there are few, I would say, limitations because of their own reasons, or sometimes there may be a bit of glass ceiling here and there. So that is what I see as the reason behind for females not getting into senior roles. Having said that, many corporates in Sri Lanka are encouraging, and especially Astron Limited encourages. So I think that's a good thing. So standing head to head with the male, managing your conversation. So I would say it's not easy, but there are females who can do it. So I'm encouraging young female lawyers to enter corporate sector, and pharmaceutical industry has many opportunities because there's heavy regulations. Heavy regulations means opportunities for lawyers, and there's data protection, there's anti-bribery, lots of things that are coming in place. So a lot of opportunities for lawyers to enter this sector, enter corporate sector and show their colors. But you have to build your technical abilities. That's very important. And also build your emotional intelligence, and also be savvy in technologies as well, AI and other things. So with that right mix, I would say, what I always say is you need to have a vision, you need to have grit, which is perseverance, and the right mindset can take you places. So with all these three in place, and also you need to have some kind of family support and all that as well, especially in senior roles, you have to put in a lot of extra hours, and that can, not help you with your, raising if you're having young children. So for me, I'm very blessed because I've got a husband who is very supportive and can pick up and drop children for extra classes and all. So with these things in place, with good technical expertise, a proper guidance and vision, grit, which is perseverance, and the right mindset, and also that family support can take you places in the corporate sector. So I encourage everyone, female and males, young lawyers, do test the waters in the corporate sector, because even Shehara, for you too, if you are interested, please consider. There's so much out there. It's like an ocean out there for you all. There's so much you can do, and it's up to each of these individuals.
Certainly. And just an extension from that question. You talked about how a lady lawyer might also have, challenges in managing their family life and personal commitments when it comes to work life. And today, I think almost all corporations, irrespective of whether you're a legal professional or not, we are emphasizing on the need of something which we term as work-life balance. Is that, we as much as we invest time into our professional and work life, we also need to invest time in our families, our hobbies, our mental health, our, our health in general, our physical health, so on and so forth. So do you think that working in the corporate sector, one would be able to manage their work-life balance? And how does the corporate culture help an individual to manage their work-life balance?
Yes, that's a good pertinent question. That's a challenge that a lot of people face when you're in the corporate sector, how you can balance your work and also your home front, especially for your children and a spouse. So it's really important to understand that work is work, and while you're at work, you do your work, but you have to also realize that you have a home front as well. So you need to divide your day in a way that where while you're at work, you focus, but you plan your, when you go home, what you do. So spending time with yourself as well as with your family is very important, and organizations encourage that. So we at Astron also really believe in work-life balance, and we encourage our employees to engage in social, recreational sports. So apart from, playing, apart from doing, I would say, uh, strenuous and I would say a job. I also had the opportunity to, play badminton with our team in the mercantile tournaments. So our company has not only molded people to become leaders, they've also helped people to excel in sports, and that has really given that balance to me. So I also believe that very importantly, people have to look after their mental health. So we do a lot of things to look after the physical, mental, and also financial well-being of employees. So not only our company, but many other companies also do a lot of things to support employees. They have counselors, they have a nurse on board, then they have so many other activities that is trying to track your health and well-being. We have medical camps. We have so many things in place to encourage people to really build their lives in a healthy manner. So it's very important for us also in HR that we not only look after the workforce, but we have to be healthy ourselves. So I try always to, stay fit, eat healthy. Those things are very important because we have to be role models to others first before we try to look after. So wellness and well-being are now favorite topics in many organizations, and I believe that is the way forward for organizations to be sustainable.
Certainly. And my next question relates to your industry. Now, if you look at your industry, the company which you represent engages in pharmaceuticals. And I think pharmaceuticals is one of it's a very important and a growing field in Sri Lanka today. And along with a growing industry, there are more regulations, more compliance requirements. There are more opportunities for lawyers to join that particular trade. So, do you think, firstly, as you know, just limiting yourself to the pharmaceuticals industry, that there would be a better uh, requirement for more lawyers, more opportunity which is available for lawyers in the future, in particular to the pharmaceuticals industry? And then secondly, if you take the corporate sector as a whole, do you think that in the future there would be more vacancies available for young lawyers, more opportunities available for young lawyers, particularly in the rise of things like artificial intelligence? Would there be more opportunities and more vacancies for lawyers and career progression for them?
Yes. So your first question was about pharmaceuticals. Whether there are opportunities? Secondly, opportunities in general for lawyers in the corporate sector. So pharmaceutical, yes, definitely with all the regulations that are in place. Last year, we had so much of regulations relating to price ceilings. Price ceiling is that the price is established by the regulatory body, and beyond that, we can't increase the price. So that is to protect patients, but it is not really benefiting local manufacturers. However, these regulations means a regulated environment means work for the regulatory division as well as lawyers as well. But in with regard to pharmaceutical sector, the regulations related is called the NMRA, National Medicinal Regulatory Authority regulations. These, for those, we generally have to have people with some science background and generally Bachelor of Pharmacy or science graduates are the people who handle the regulatory aspect of things, because there is preparation of technical documents such as dossiers for registrations, renewals, etc. Nevertheless, there's for a company like us, we have to have agreements with the local distributors, then distributors overseas for export markets. Then we have all our brands, we have our own trademarks. So there's intellectual property that is coming to place. So we have to protect our brands. So then we have corporate company secretarial. We have to look after the shareholders, do all the relevant filing with the register of companies. Then we have data protection coming in. Our company has been trying to has got the ISO 27001. So that required that we have to have non-disclosure agreements with employees, IT vendors. Then we have to have agreements with IT service providers. There again, work for the legal department. So since I'm also sitting in human resource, there's so much of other work as well. When you are growing as a company, we sometimes see there's grievances. Sometimes we have to, there are different, because the workforce is very diverse. We have people from different generations coming in. So definitely there is a lot of opportunities for a regulated industry like pharmaceuticals for lawyers. So second question, in general, corporate sector, is it attractive for corporate lawyer? Yes, for sure. So some of the factors I mentioned, ISO 27001. Then the new regulations relating to anti-bribery coming into place means that you have to have the relevant policies like whistleblowing, anti-harassment, those things. And so that means development of those things will require a legal person being in-house, and that can really support the organization. So those things are common to most corporates, especially in Sri Lanka, that with a regulated environment means definitely work for the legal department.
Certainly. And with that, I think we can conclude today's discussion. And we would like to thank Ms. Kumarini Astron for taking time off her busy schedule and joining in for this discussion on why corporate sector today. We would also like to thank the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, its president, the webinars committee, and we hope to see that more young lawyers, law students would be interested in joining the corporate sector, in looking for opportunities in the corporate sector. And as Ms. Seneviratne rightfully pointed out, it's a growing sector. It's a sector with a lot of opportunities. It's a sector with a lot of opportunities for career growth. And it's something which a lot of young lawyers can have a positive and an optimistic view on. So with that, we would like to conclude today's discussion, and we would like to thank everyone who joined in. And we hope that you continue to be a part of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka's discussions by subscribing to the YouTube channel of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and being informed of the future discussions which will take place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shehara. Are there any questions from anybody who is listening, the audience? Any questions? Are there any questions?
No, madam. Usually what they do is they post a question on the Q&A box. Yes.
Yeah.
But we haven't received
Received
any.
any.
So, yeah.
That's it.
So,
Okay. Thank you very much once again to Shehara and to the team at Bar Association for having this program series. I think it's really important for young lawyers to understand what are the pros and cons of the private practice as well as the corporate sector. I would say both have benefits, advantages, and it's all up to you what you really want in life and what you really want to achieve. So it's both are quite good, but I really recommend, because being in corporate, I see what are the advantages. So the sky is the limit. So it's up to me and to each of us. Okay.
Thank you.
So-
This brings us to the end of episode 14th of the webinar series of Why Corporate Sector. I thank our esteemed guest, Ms. Kumarini Astron, attorney at law, and Mr. Shehara Herath for the fruitful and educational discussion, for dedicating your time to be here with us and sharing your insights. I thank the BASL Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee for their dedication and hard work on organizing this insightful webinar. And last but not least, I thank our audience who have joined in for this session today through various platforms and for the interactive discussion what we have had. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good night.